Surprise, surprise.
Where was he on the ground?
13. Told you we'd stick to our board. We did. Got a guy that was 13th on our board coming out. After watching film him the last 3 years, he's probably a little low, but he is a guy that makes sense for a number of reasons. Number one, 2 years of controlled costs, getting a dynamic receiver who's played inside, outside, obviously the chemistry with our quarterback, and a guy who can be a dynamic vertical threat, which is something we were looking for, as well as I had a very strong feeling that the board was going to fall the way it did, and I'm awfully glad that we made this trade.
You said 2 years of control costs. Does that mean his option has been?
Yeah, we'll pick that up.
Why did you think the board was going to fall like it did? Why did you have such a strong?
Because I just felt like it was a strong receiver group at the top, and there was going to be a quick run on them. Liked a lot of those guys, but at the same time, when I thought about those are all projections. Those are all guys that we have to forecast what they're going to be in the league. This isn't a forecast. This guy's done it, and he's done it at a high level. 90-some catches, over 1,000 yards. We haven't had a 1,000-yard receiver in a couple years. Obviously, Hop's injury hurt that chances, but this guy's got 21 touchdowns in 3 years. I mean, it's bombs over Baghdad. He can fly, and he is a legitimate playmaker. He's got really good hands. So exciting, really, too, with also this schematical fit. You know, what Kliff does offensively. This guy's really going to be, to me, a great addition.
So you saw the board going, but I'm sure you talked to Eric well before that happened. But did that trigger the trade re-emergence talks with Eric for that specific player? Or?
No, this I don't want to get into specifics, but you know, this trade to me would have been done regardless. It wasn't a knee-jerk reaction. It was we wanted this player.
How much did the relationship with Kyler factor into the move?
I mean, it just, to me, it added to the checking the boxes. You know, it's the fact that I think he's been working out with him in Dallas. Did not talk to Kyler about it because of the sensitivity of my discussions with the Ravens, but obviously knew how he felt about him. A few years ago, we had him at 13 on our board. He was sliding. He went 25 because of his foot injury at the time. I tried to trade back into 1 to select him, and we couldn't get up there. So maybe the second time around is going to work.
What was Kyler's reaction when the news broke?
Texts of fireballs. So.
You started like figuring out plays for him. I know you're going to do that at some point.
Yeah, no doubt. I thought last year when we had all those guys healthy, you know, Christian, AJ, Hop, Max was playing good. Rondell was kind of the come in and spell some of those guys, both backs. That's when we're at our best. So the more playmakers we can have, the better dynamic guy who can take the top off inside, outside. And, you know, I think he's just scratching the surface. Like Steve said, we really feel like he fits what we do, played in a similar scheme in college there at OU with Lincoln. And so it should be a quick learning curve as well.
You mentioned the cost control, but with things going crazy with receivers, I know it's early, but do you anticipate any issues with a contract?
I don't. No, I don't.
Where else? Where can you use him specifically? I'm sorry, I wasn't.
Just everywhere. Yeah, I mean, if you watch, he's dynamic. 91 catches, and you know the style of offense that Baltimore plays, where they're going to be run first, heavy, 2 tight end, you know, 2 receivers at most. You know, we just feel like it's a perfect fit. He can play inside, outside, and really take the top off.
It doesn't change Rondell's role, really? Or
Not at all.
He can also play more outside and inside?
He can do both, yeah. We see him kind of taking over where Christian was, but he can play both.
How important was to get that 100th pick overall?
Well, that to me was icing on the cake. You know, to be able to get a guy like this, who's had this kind of production and fit our offense the way he will, and then to be able to go back and get the 100th pick, where now all of a sudden we're picking 2, and we're picking 2 and 3. It's gives us a number of different options. So, like a lot of the guys up there that are still left, and you know, we'll continue to monitor the board and see where it goes.
How long had obviously it wasn't an injury reaction, we went into too many details. How long had this been in the works, the talks with Baltimore?
I'll just say this, we've had ongoing conversations for quite some time. So, but again, it made sense in so many ways for me. And, you know, to lose a guy of the caliber of Christian Kirk is obviously hurt, but to be able to add a guy like this is, particularly again in today's market with the numbers where they're going, and to have that 2 years of controlled costs, and to have the vertical threat that he provides is really big. So again, he's been very durable too. If you look at his history in Baltimore, guy that came out with the foot injury, I think he's missed 2 or 3 games in his 3-year career. And again, his ability, because nowadays when you're seeing these guys, they're generally either slots or they're outside receivers. This guy gives you a number of different options because of his explosiveness.
Kyler champion for C.D. Lamb when he got drafted. How much will this appease him?
It better a lot.
Kliff, what do you, the battle that's are you excited to see the battle of the playing time with the receivers now you've got?
Yeah, like I said last year, I thought it was very similar and brought out the best in all those guys. And so lots of playmakers. When we're distributing the ball more equally is when we're at our best, and that's what I anticipate.
Steve, what does it mean to get the extra third-round pick at this point?
Yeah, I mean, again, I think it's great because it gives us options, and again, a number of different directions we can go, whether it's packaging picks and moving up, or staying put, or even moving back and acquiring another, 4th or 5th round pick. So there's going to be still some good players up there that we feel like can contribute. So, and a number of different directions we can go positionally.
Did you meet with him during the draft process a couple of years ago, and if so, what were your impressions of him?
Hollywood? Yeah, absolutely. And as much time as we spent on Kyler, we went to OU, we spent time with Kyler, we met Hollywood, obviously interviewed him at length, and with the foot injury, didn't know if he would drop out of the first round. Unfortunately, he didn't, or fortunately for him. But, he was a guy that we spent a lot of time on, and knew the kind of player that he could be in the league as long as he got that foot right, which obviously wasn't even an issue.
What really stood out during that meeting with him to you?
With Hollywood, you guys will get to know him. He's got a really easygoing, sort of laid-back personality. Yet at the same time, on the field, he's like a fierce competitor. Especially for a little more of a slighter receiver, he's competitive as hell. He competes in a crowd. You see him make acrobatic catches, and again, his speed is 0 to 60 is second to none.
Have you had any conversations with him in the land today or yet, or is it still early?
Hollywood?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've talked to him a few times, and he's extremely excited.
What kind of player do you think is going to be there at 55 for you guys?
Hopefully a good one. Confucius say. No, I think there's going to be a good player, Bob. I think a guy certainly that can contribute. There's a number of good players left up there, and again, I don't want to get pigeonholed into a certain position or a need. You want to make sure that we're taking the best player available.
How excited is he just to be reunited with Kyler? Did he mention that?
No, because when I first talked to him, he couldn't tell Kyler, so I think he was probably a little frustrated that he had to hold that information in, but I'm sure those two have had some laughs now. But I would say more than anything, I grew up about 70 miles from Baltimore, and I know what the weather's like there, so I would imagine he's pretty happy.